Holbrook New Media.
This is Jeffrey K. Holbrook. Welcome to the audio feed from holbrooknewmedia.com. Today, Geoff and Jeffrey, the weekly catch-up. We hope you enjoy the audio version. If you want to see what we look like, I will embed the video for this episode at holbrooknewmedia.com.
Hello, everyone. I'm Geoff Blanchard, and next to me is my co-host, Jeffrey K. Holbrook. And this is the weekly catch-up. And welcome, and we're back. Well, we got here eventually, Jeffrey. There was a few false starts. Skype was playing up. It wouldn't give us a signal, and it kept freezing us. So now it's working. So we've made it here for show number 43.
43. Like you say, it whenever we first started talking on Blab, it never occurred to us we'd be at show 43. Right away, I'm thinking, boy, it seemed like something like that would be so far off. Where we're getting close to 50 shows.
That's quite amazing, and I still amaze myself each week that we finish the show and there's still things I can talk about. So,
Oh yeah, there's always new things to talk about. Occasionally, when somebody buys a new device or something like that. But we got something we want to talk about today.
Okay.
We're going to have a guest co-host. And just to surprise everybody, I'm just going to get up away from the microphone and turn this over to my wife, Dee. I'll introduce her, and then she'll have somebody she wants to introduce a little bit later, so I'm just going to walk off.
You're going to walk off? Oh, okay. And welcome.
Hello.
Nice.
I've got
And
my
can you
hair
see
sticking
what-
up.
And can you see you've got your name on there as well?
I can, yes.
Oh God, you really made it now. You've got your name in lights and everything. So.
Oh my goodness. I'm famous.
So you watch
With sticky up
stream-
hair.
Well, the other co-host doesn't have much hair to stick up. So.
No. He's cute though.
I'm not going to go that far. So.
It's nice to finally meet you in person, as it is.
Well, that's right. And I always say with Geoff as well, it's strange. We meet people and we get to know them, but we've never met them really. But as I said, it makes such a big difference because you get to know people, what they like, what they don't like.
Exactly.
So when you do eventually meet them, it's not that, I wonder if I'll like them or not. You know well in advance that you do. So.
Absolutely. Well, exactly. Yes. I hear you've got a special buddy that is kind of stays around you while you're doing your shows and whatnot.
Yes, I do have. I have my trusted companion, William Blanchard. I call him William Blanchard because that's it. It's me, William Blanchard, and he's next to me. And what he's doing now in the dog is an English pointer.
Oh, okay.
All he seems to do, though, during the show seems to snore.
Oh, okay.
So if you hear a bit of a grunting, it's not me falling asleep or something. If you've said anything, it may be William.
It may
that's
be
just getting a wee bit tired, you see.
Oh,
on that.
I see. Well, I
That's the
think
thing.
my little buddy is somewhat upset with me because I put a ribbon around her neck. But I'd like you to meet her if I can. If Geoff can bring her over. She's not
that's
real
good.
happy with her mommy right now.
Oh, we've got the big screen now so we can see. Oh, look at her.
Oh, here, let me get her ribbon. Say hi, Lily Billy. See, she's really disgruntled. She's like, Mom, why?
I know why Geoff's we're doing this because Geoff's seen as well on YouTube. The ones that get the most views are the ones with the cats on it.
Oh, I know.
So,
taking up the guilty pleasure of watching kitty cat videos. I'm afraid I am one of those. Are you going to say hi or are you just going to sit there? No, I want to go away, Mother.
she looks a beautiful cat, but exactly as you said, she looks like, what are you doing to me, Mother?
I know,
with
exactly.
This?
She's like, Dad, come rescue me.
And she says, I do love a cuddle.
Yeah.
But Not when I'm supposed to have one.
on her, oh no, now Dad's going to make her really upset.
As long as it's not like a baby where the babies, when they do that, then they tend to throw up all over
Oh, absolutely. Well, we can't rule that out, actually. No, she is such a cuddler, and she is such a sweet little thing. She, for the most part, anytime he or I, especially myself, if we're just sitting watching TV, doing computer, whatever, she wants to be there. She wants to be right in your lap. And she is somewhat jealous of my computers because she feels that's her space when they're sitting on my lap. And, she feels like that's her space, and she comes and nudges it, tries to get it out of the way. So I move it over and make room for her. So I'm now just, got all these things to where I can't move.
But don't they say with cats, though, they say we don't own the cat, we don't own, and they own us. They tell us what to do, and
yes.
Where dogs, you sometimes tell them what to do, but cats are a totally different creature altogether. They do what they want, and they insist on what they need to have. And
that like is true.
You read a newspaper, and if it's without their permission, they're in front of it, and they'll jump on it and keep in your face until
absolutely. Yes, jump in the middle of it and rip it straight down right through the article you are so much enjoying at that moment.
So, as I said, so you've got the cat. So, So, are you both of you real creature people? Do you have lots of pets, or is that your main creature of choice at the moment?
That's predominantly throughout our married life, and for me growing up, it was always about cats. I was raised on a farm, so there were a lot of animals around, horses, cattle, that type of thing, and of course we had dogs, but my preference was, of course, cats, and it always has been. I'm a cat person, so. And I don't know if Geoff ever told you about the kitty cat that we had for the longest time. His name was Grizzly, and we had him for 8 years. The reason why he was named Grizzly was because when we got him, he was maybe about 4.5 weeks old, and he was like this little round puffball, black little puffball, and he looked like a little bear. So we named him Grizzly. Of course, in very short order, as he grew and got real slim and real sleek and shiny, he looked like a panther. So he was somewhat illy named, but we kept the Grizz. We kept that name, and we had him for 8 years. A wonderful cat. And we lost him about, it was 2 years this January. And it took me about 1.5 years to allow myself to have another pet. And we went to our local animal shelter. We like to adopt, don't shop, adopt. And we went to the local animal shelter, and I had intentions of getting a tiny one again so that I could raise it and, make it what I wanted it to be. And she happened to be the oldest cat at that time in the shelter, and we just fell in love. She's perfect. We've had her for a little over a year, and she's just perfect. She's just a really sweet cat.
Well, I tell you, that's a good way to get them because apart from making you, keeping you company, you've saved a life, and and I always think those things, they've had a tragic life to get there in the first place.
Most often, yeah.
And I always think there's some that say if somebody's died or something and left them, I thought, what does that poor creature think? They're all upset. They don't, and that's a lot of things with cats. It's because people don't tend to, or else they just totally dump them.
Oh, they do. Where we live in this area, when we first moved here 20 some years ago, for the first few years we had several cats and dogs and kittens, teeny tiny kittens dropped here. I guess they think this curve where there's our house and a couple of others, and I guess they think, well, it's there are people that live here. Our neighbors have like swing sets and things, so it's clear there are children there, so perhaps they feel like it's a good place to drop them. I don't, but there have been several animals that we have, and it just breaks my heart because cats especially, but dogs, all of them, they grieve if they've had this relationship established with their human parent, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they're given up. It has to be horrible for them. And for her, we know that her story was she was with this family, and they had a little kitten, and then they had her. And from what we understand, it was an older couple, but they had a granddaughter there, and the kitten scratched the granddaughter, and it wasn't anything, she was playing with it, and it just happens, yeah. But the little girl contracted MRSA, wasn't it MRSA? And MRSA in the scratch, and that's a very, very bad infection disease to get, and it came from the cat scratch, and she was in hospital for quite a while, but I guess the family, and understandably, they felt that, for safety purposes, they just, gave up both the cats and brought them to the to the shelter. And as far as we know, this shelter is a no-kill shelter, but, in any event, the kitten was taken up, very quickly. It was adopted quickly. But for Lily, she had been there 8 weeks when we had finally adopted her. And again, she's just the sweetest little thing, but she was the oldest cat there, and they tend to not be chosen. Those little kittens kind of, they're cute and they're sweet, and that's what everyone's walking in for. And so the older cats and the black cats, black cats are very rarely adopted. People just don't want a lot of
superstitious.
Superstitious and that type of thing. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, with the way I've gone with animals, like as I said, I've got William the dog, and he's sort of my pride and joy there. But I used to get a lot of the time was get a little puppy, and that, because like you said, everybody loves the little puppies.
Oh yeah.
But probably a few dogs ago, I decided, well, I'll look for something different. And so it's amazing how many great dogs and great animals you can get when you get past the puppy stage. And let's face it, what am I getting past?
Misery.
Furniture, tearing down the curtains, doing that, missing out on that. So I went to one of the places, and I was looking for a dog, and they said, oh, well, I've got this dog. No, we don't want him. He's a show dog. He's about 2 years old, but he's too big. He's not winning any prizes. We've got to get rid of him. And I thought, these people just sometimes are heartless. And well, this dog was, they said William was 2.5. And I thought, well, they've got to be nice dogs because they've been show dogs, and he was a male. And I don't know if you know, when they show male dogs, do you know what one of the main things that they do in the shows to male dogs?
They kind of hold them in specific places. I know that.
That's right. Just to make sure that they're proper male, and not just calm.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Well, and they are looking for possible, breeding possibilities, that type of thing. Geoff's brother and sister-in-law, she was a traveling nurse, and they were over on the West Coast, and they have a little Papillon, a real little tiny toy Papillon. She's beautiful, and so they decided to show her, to put her in a few shows and to show her, and they really got kind of disillusioned by the whole thing because they just seen, animals mistreated by their owners. I mean, they were there just for a purpose. They weren't pets, really. And it was really sad. And so, they weren't that way toward their little, Mia is her name. They weren't that way, but the people who were helping them and the judges and things, they were just not so kind. And
well, I'll show you just one where, let me have a look, see if you can see. Well, just to let you know, that's William.
Oh, look at that face. Oh, he's a sweetheart. I assume that's in your studio.
No, that's in the dirty kitchen on the floor in the kitchen. But can you see, like, how can anybody look at a face like that and say we don't want him?
Oh, I know. Absolutely.
He's just cute. He's such a quiet dog. And I thought, with that, he'll go into a car. He's he won't bite anybody, because if he did, he would have been out of the show ring.
Oh, absolutely.
And the reason why I got him was because before I had a German Shepherd at the time, and how I got her was I went where I kept my horse at one stage. This woman she said, I've got this other German Shepherd. I don't want her. She's too small. She's not growing up. She's 12 months old. I've got to get rid of her. And she was like a German Shepherd, but a little bit too, not as big as most of them.
Oh, yeah.
And she's the loveliest dog. So, and I tell you what, the two dogs that I've had from that have lasted the longest, they've been the least trouble. And as I said, I've had other ones from puppy stage. Well, while I've got you here, you're not going to get away without seeing everything.
Oh, okay.
You can see how, let's see if you can see, see, this is me here. This is just me a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay. But look at what you have there. Is that a Springer Spaniel?
No, that's another William. That's another English pointer, but
okay.
Liver and white. Like Williams are lemon and white. There's orange and white, lemon and white, liver and white, and black and white. But this is my first dog in Australia.
Oh.
When I was, how old would I be there? Probably about 10 or 12, I think. So that was Susie. That's Susie, the first that we had. So you can see why I love the dogs. And then, of course, when Susie was a little pup, poor little thing, all on her own. Look at her there.
Oh, she is pretty, though.
And she was so trainable, and she just did everything you told her to. If you said stay, she would just say how long, and you could walk 2 miles up the road as long as she could see you. Then when you gave her the signal, she would come running towards you, but she would not move. She'd keep her eye on you, and she was just that well trained. With having that was when with mum and dad, and I had Susie because when I'd always wanted a dog, and mum and dad said, "You're not having a dog. You've got school. You'll never look after it." And then we said, "Let's go and get one." So we got Susie, dragged her off, and then after having her for a little while, about 12 months, then mum and dad started saying, "Oh, isn't she lonely being on her own? So let's go and get another one." So we found a farm down here that had just had a load of pups, and they were English pointers. Oh. So we went down and got what was it, Sadie? We got Sadie from there. Here's Sadie.
Oh, with a kitty, but Sadie. Now she has more red on her. That's called liver, isn't it?
She's liver and white. But then in the background, that was at the time we had one of our cats. That's Simon, the white Siamese.
Wow.
We had Simon and Sheba, the white Siamese. So you can see.
But then Simon looks big. Looks like it was a pretty big kitty cat.
He is a big dog, but what it was, we went there at first. So Mum and Dad said, "No, we want Susie's the female, so we want a male." So we went to this place, and there was 2 puppies left. A male and a female. So we got the male because we wanted a male, and brought the male home, Sam. And then, I would have loved it, but it was Mum. I played on Mum's guilt a bit and said, "Mum, that other one, that poor thing, because she's a little bit long. She's got a few fleas on her. Nobody will want her. She had a little hernia on her belly, and I said, they're going to put her down, if you don't do something about it, because they won't want her. So I did the full guilt trip, and then we ended up with Susie, Sam, and Sadie.
You got the whole family. So Susie and Sam and Sadie, right?
That's right. So so Susie's on the right. I think I can't remember how I'm looking at it on this way. So Sadie's in the middle anyway. Sam's got the heads on the top there, but as I said, there was Susie, Sam, and Sadie. So, but they're all English pointers. Then they're just beautiful. Marvelous dogs on there. So, and as I said, when you saw William, before William, I did have Zach.
Oh,
and Zach was identical, and that was with Venus. And Zach, here's Zach, but you can see he's really orange.
Oh yes,
how orange he's an orange and white, and then that's the other one there. That's Venus. That's the German Shepherd. That she was too small for showing. But I tell you what, was the most loveliest dog you could ever think about. That one there.
Oh,
but
wow.
Really, really good dog on that one there. But as I said, going through there, so we've had a multitude of animals, and then as I said, they're all on the same things. Have you heard of Weimaraners?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yes, well, they're sort of like English pointers, but they're a different color.
Yeah, they're that slate or silverish type.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. And so that's Penny and Cindy, because I had after Susie, Sam, and Sadie, there was after all they all died, we said old age or whatever. The last about 10 or 11, and then there was Sadie and Cindy and Penny. That's what Penny and Cindy.
Penny
two
and
ones.
Cindy. Oh my goodness,
So
they are beautiful though.
They were, and as I said, but they had short tails, but they're quite similar to the English pointers, but just with. The only thing is, I could always say to people, the only thing with Weimaraners, they're great, but they don't tend to do anything.
Oh, really?
They're just there. They're there. They're a bit like a cat, but they're not maybe cuddly. But cats pay up for it to want the cuddling, but these were so good, but they're just, and they don't drool. That's what people like with them, no matter how much they don't drool, the Weimaraners on there.
Absolutely. Well, do the pointers, they don't drool, do they?
Well, it depends on the pointer. I've been looking after every now and then a friend of mine goes away, and I organised this dog for her from South Australia, and it's Hudson. He just looks like William, and when he's around and there's a biscuit on the table, I can see big bubbles.
Oh no!
And it's I said, but William doesn't. But this one, he rules. They can, but he doesn't there at the time. So, but as I said, there's all these different things with these different. Not we said we had Simon. Was it? Yes, Simon, and then that was the second Simon, the white Siamese. This was the first Simon. That's my father there.
Oh, okay. Oh, now that is a true Siamese in the collars.
Yeah. And I'll tell you a funny story about that one. With he was because back in the years gone by. Well, you probably don't care. You were allowed to let them out where you are, but round here these days, if you let cats out at night, you get into trouble.
Oh yeah,
because they kill wildlife and they don't like it. But back then, Simon was one of these cats that you just let out. And just let them do whatever they want, and he used to go, and he wasn't fixed. He was a tomcat, so he used to go out on the town. And Siamese, they make quite a racket even when they're normally speaking.
Oh yes,
so,
they do.
And he used to quite often go out onto the town, and he came back one night with a bit of his ear bitten off and scratches over his face, and so. I was this when I was probably very young, probably 10 or 12, and I was round some people's places, like your parents take you, and somebody said to me, "How's your cat?" And I said, "Oh, he's been a bit of a devil, our cat." I said, "He's been out on the town, and as he said, I think he's been after the girls because he's come back. He's had a bit of his ear bitten off, and he's got scratches all over his face. And so Mum said if he's not careful, she's going to take him to the vet and get him.
Yeah, clipped. And he won't want to do those things anymore.
To do that anymore, and that was quite an innocent thing to say. And then I found then
later you found out what she meant.
Well, a few days later, I got my mother came back and she said, "What have you been saying?"
Oh no!
So, what? Because I have a brother called Pat. And so she asked me, "How's your Pat, my brother?"
Oh.
And so I was telling her all this thing about the cat, but she thought, and I thought, no wonder she looked shocked.
Oh no!
And so because I'm saying if he doesn't pack it in, she's going to get him.
And she thought you were talking.
And that sounds. If you think about a person, you think going out, coming back with scratches over the face.
Oh, absolutely.
They must be terrible.
He must have been doing some ugly things.
So from that day on, you just say, "What was that you said?
Yeah.
Who are you asking about?" Or you just make sure. So quite innocent things that kids say sometimes
absolutely.
Can get. That wasn't picked up. You can say, "Oh, I know so and so. They've got terrible trouble with their kids. One of them's doing all this." And he came back. Simon came back one night or one afternoon with a string of sausages. So he'd stolen them from somebody.
Stealing. They're notorious for doing that. Oh no!
Then he came back the next night with a ball of wool with 2 knitting needles in it, with the ladies knitting in it. So he brought the whole thing back.
Lands! That means he was getting in people's houses, probably.
He must have been, but he was terrible.
He was ornery.
That's right, and that's what cats are for. But in the Siamese are like a lot of things. Cats are wonderful as well, but Siamese are like different thing. They're like another race.
Yeah, like a whole different breed. Yes.
They talk, and they're just so totally different, but they're just so unique in the cat kingdom. I think
they are, but they're loud and they jabber constantly. And
right.
Yeah, and now a full-blood Siamese is great. We had, when we first got married, we had it was a mix, and it probably had other, it was just a little mutt in the kitty cat kingdom, but it had a lot of Siamese in it, and you could tell by its voice and the sounds it made, but it was a monster. It was just a demon, and we lived in a little apartment in town, so it stayed inside. Other than our landlord, they had little kids at the time, and they had a 6-year-old little girl, and she would come to our house. We'd hear this little knock, and she would ask if the kitty could come out and play. So we would, no. Yeah, well, we would let her. I mean, because she would just take her out and back, and she would just play, and the kitty really enjoyed the little girl. They were buddies, but boy, that cat was not very nice to Geoff and I. So, Geoff, he woke up one morning. I was asleep, and apparently my eyes were fluttering, and the cat was getting ready to pounce on my face. So that he didn't like that very well, Geoff.
Well, you saw where I've got the picture with the old Zach there and Venus.
Yes.
Well, that was Venus. Well, when I got Zach, I had Zach as a little puppy. And when we had Zach, I had Penny was the last Weimaraner, and so she was on her way. Yes, Penny was the last one on her way out when I got Zach. And then when Penny died, I wanted another dog, so this other German Shepherd I found that was going to get her put down.
Aww.
So I couldn't bear that because I'd grown up with it. When the people who got it, I'd seen her when she was a real little puppy, and she just didn't work out because she was on a property and she kept attacking people. So I said, when you're on a horse adjustment where people come in, you can't do that. So they didn't have any other options. But I said, no, you're
Oh.
not doing that. So I took her home, and I had her. That biggest mistake of my life. That was.
Oh
She was
no.
like that. She was the dog from hell. But I tell you what, she loved myself, my mother, and my friend at the time. My friend, that 3 people. They were the only 3 people in the world she loved. We could do anything with her. She protected us no end. As I said, it was a nightmare for other reasons, but it was a godsend in others. But this
Yeah.
dog, said she wouldn't let anybody else touch her except these 3. But at the time, I was working in retail, and you used to get before alarms were really good. Nearly every second night, you'd get a call from the police that said somebody's breaking into the shop, and they wouldn't go there and help you. So you'd have to go roll up at the shop at 2:00 in the morning, hoping there's nobody's inside. You have to check them out. But I used to take her, open the door, put her in, she'd run around. I thought she'd kill anybody that was in there.
Well, exactly.
But the thing was here, we had Zach, and they used to get on well. They were really good friends. But this dog was so crazy that whenever a truck went past or thunder, she thought it was something coming to get her.
Oh.
And so she would turn and attack anything. So poor Zach, he would get attacked because she would think he was the evil one.
Oh.
She would think and attack him. So Zach was one of the early dogs that he learned to sit on the kitchen chair. So he never used to sit on the mat with like Zach and William do. Zach used to sit on the kitchen chair and go to sleep, sat up there, because when she had a turn, he wasn't there. And then when he wanted to lay down, sometimes I'd come home and he would be laid out on the kitchen table. Very unfortunate. Because he used to think, I'm getting away from her. And
he's protecting himself.
And this dog, though, as I said, this is the trouble she was. We never had to take her to the vets for some injections or anything like that.
Yeah.
We had to put a muzzle on her, but then I had to get her into a headlock so the vet could come out and give her
a shot or something. Oh.
And because, as I said, her downfall, I said, downfall will be if she gets something that she's really ill on, we won't be able to fix her up. And that was her sort of downfall. But I tell you what, the day that she died, Zach was the happiest dog in this world.
I have no doubt.
He never sat on the chair and never went on the table ever again since and he knew the moment I came back. He knew, thank goodness she's gone. But he knew the way that she wasn't there. But and that's because some people, as I said, with shepherds, they breed them, and sometimes are just not quite right in the head.
Yes.
I don't think
they get interbreed and bred, and that just And a shepherd you have to be very careful with, and if they do become protective, and they choose that certain few that they're going to protect, then they are dangerous to anything and every one who can come near. I mean, it's a dangerous situation.
She never quite used to attack, but she'd only attack people if they came to me or whatever. If they left her alone, she was fine, but don't corner her or don't go after her, because that's what I like with William, because everybody wants to come and pat. But even then I said, be careful, you don't know. Because I said, he's okay, but the next dog you do that to might not be. So I said, don't always. I said, wait, just hold on. You don't know. And even though he's never bitten anybody, I'm always wary because they're animals.
Yeah, you don't know.
There's something that will snap and they'll bite.
Absolutely.
There's always something that's going to. It's like humans. We're all nice. I'm a nice person. I'm pretty sure there's something that's out there that
will turn in a heartbeat.
Yell and slap something or do something out of character.
Yeah.
Everyone's got that turning point, and animals don't have control as us.
No, they do not. They don't have those.
But then again, William's quite good. I take him down to the residential home where my mum is, and he's quite a star down there. There's people wait round. Oh, is William coming tonight? And so I have to go and take him around, and they've got to give him a pat and a cuddle, and to see all these people that I know it just brightens their day when they can.
Sure, it does.
him a big cuddle and kiss, and
Oh,
he loves it. He just can't
sure.
wait to get there.
And that's
He
an
just
awesome thing to do. That's an
yeah.
awesome thing to do for them. There's a lot of people that they use their pets like that. They have their they there's a term for it, but
Yeah, get what it is. I
but
know
you know
what
what
you
I'm
mean.
talking about, taking them
Mhm.
into nursing homes or assisted living. And even there are some that they allow them in hospitals, depending on like children's wards and stuff for kids who are really sick and are long-term residents and that type of thing. They will, there are dogs that they allow in like that, and it's wonderful for the patients. It gives them something to look forward to, and it really brightens their day, and it's wonderful for the kids, definitely, because it put a dog and a kid together, and it's magic.
And it does something for the owner, because I get a thrill out of it too.
Oh,
Because
sure.
if you see just how happy that they look from seeing that, and you think, I
Absolutely.
haven't had to do much. I've just brought him in, and that's just made their day. So it does really cheer me up a lot when I see that
Oh,
happening as well.
sure.
And there's one more dog that you've never seen. And you see, this is my first dog. First one I can remember was Prince. This was Prince.
Oh.
That's my mum, and I figure that's my mum telling me, "Are you taking the picture?" Or don't you take me while I'm scowling at you or
No,
something. Nothing. She's saying that, but that's Prince, and he was a German Shepherd, and that back in the 60s. That was.
Oh, wow.
That's the last of the dogs. But as I said, you can't say I don't like animals, and I didn't have the. I was looking. Took me ages last night finding them all, but some pictures I couldn't find. There was one I've had, Annie, which was the sulphur-crested cockatoo.
Oh.
So, and I forgot, didn't have any pictures. I was searching I found one in the early days, I found one of Ernie and Percy, because I had two of them at that stage, two cockatoos. But Percy never came, but Ernie stayed around, and Ernie just passed away, last September.
Oh.
He was 43 years old. So
yes, they live a long time. Yes.
And somebody, that's young. I said, well, yeah, I know they can live longer, but that still is a long time for
an animal. Yeah, a small bird. Yeah. I wanted to show you. Geoff found me a picture. I don't know if you can see it. If I
oh yes, let's have a look. So I'll put you on full screen.
Am I doing it right?
And just a bit high. Now, where you were in front of your face and a bit higher, then I'll see it. So that's it. That's it. Go up higher.
I'm doing it wrong, aren't I, Geoff? Geoff can do it. He knows how to do it. I'll let him do it. Can you see it?
Oh, yes, I can.
That's Grizzly.
Grizzly with the weightlifting. Is that what? Is that what Grizzly?
That was Geoff kind of yeah, his equipment, but that's a silhouette of Grizz, but basically that was him. He was he's solid black. But that was my Grizz man. He, bless his heart, Geoff was trying to find some pictures. I should have gathered some up, and I didn't.
Hey, what we can do another show another time and grab some pictures, and we do that a little bit more, because it said that'd be a great one as well if you have some more pictures, and I can see if I can find some more of that. But
I
then,
would
of course,
love that.
Of course, I'm not just into the dogs. So then, when I was, I got my way with the parents with the dogs, because that was easy. But then I said, I want a horse.
Oh.
So then they said, definitely no.
No, but horses are wonderful. He's showing another picture of Grizz. This is Grizz, and that's his face.
That's good. He does look a bit strong, and
but
he looks there, doesn't he?
Geoff had some wonderful pictures of him. There you go.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely love horses. My oldest brother and I would, he had a few horses, and I was the one that would ride with him. I loved riding horses. That's one of the things that I miss greatly about not being able, the thing I'm not able to do. But they're wonderful. But I thought you still had horses. Do you not?
Well, I do a bit, but did you see? I don't know if Geoff's shown you. There was one of the ones I did that showed one of my recent horses and my first horse. Because as I said, the parents said there's no way
No way.
you're not getting a horse. So they stuck to their guns. So that was the truth. I never got my first horse until I was started work, and then at 23, I think I got my first horse.
Oh,
And because when you
nice.
get him at that age, you want to do it. So I did
yes.
some competing on him, and when you've never had a horse, you do some crazy things, and now I would never do on a horse. You
Oh,
think, but you say I didn't know any better then, so I had some great time. But then the next one after was the junior. Then the next one was Charlie. There's me and Charlie. That's
beautiful.
on that. And I still have Charlie, but the thing was with Charlie, he had I think it was an ex-race horse, and when you work him up too much, he had an injury
Oh,
that
yes.
only seemed to show up in the cold winter days after a long workout. Then he'd get
Oh,
a bit lame, so I had to retire him. But
yes.
that's what I've still got Charlie there. I go and see.
Oh,
I keep
nice.
Then I got myself another one which was called Orpy, and he was one of the best ones I've ever had. This was
Oh,
Orpy. He was lovely to ride, and that, so he was probably the best one I ever had, and he was just such a pleasure to ride. But as I said, with Mum going into residential care and the bills and all that, I could not afford the luxury of because keeping a horse and doing it right is about $1,000 a month habit.
oh, absolutely. It's expensive.
And that's on the light end of it. But as I said, if you're going to do it, you've got to. And the thing is, with the way I was doing it, there's no way I was going to have a horse. And if I got stuck at work or if I got somewhere else, I couldn't look after him. So
Yeah.
I put him in top adjustment. So they feed them twice a day. If it gets hot, they take the rugs off. If it gets cold, they put them on. And when you do go to ride, you've got an indoor arena to ride.
Oh,
You've got
nice.
lights. And so
Oh,
it's
so
the
you
sort
could
of
go in
thing
the
where-
middle of the night and ride if you wanted.
But the thing is, you've got to look at. So if you, for some reason, work calls you away for a couple of weeks, it doesn't matter. They're not going to
Yes.
staff somebody looking after them,
Yes.
and then they're already there for that. So for some people, just have a horse and don't worry about just leave it in a paddock. Like even Charlie, he's retired. I've got him in a paddock, but where I put him, the people still feed them once a day.
Oh,
And then
sure.
one of the deals is because it's quite a big paddock where they have about another 10 horses, and I take William down on a Sunday morning early, about 7 o'clock on Sunday morning, and we pick up William's friend Jet, another dog, and we go down for a walk there. They like running around the paddocks, and so the deal is I go there and feed up on a Sunday morning for them. But if I
Oh.
can't, I let them know. So I'll still have Charlie, and we still, feed them up, take them, 20 kilos of carrots or something.
Oh, nice.
And so he's still going well. It's just quite annoying to see how beautiful and lovely Charlie looks. And I said, I'm not even
You can't
riding
ride
him.
him. That would
It's
be so sad.
Time he gets, it's not fair on him, because then he
Yeah.
becomes unruly and wants to get you off. And they said, well, it's not his fault. He's just
He's
his
just
hair-
hurting. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so he said it's not there. And he's no good to anybody else. So I'm not going to palm him off onto somebody
oh, no.
else. So
No.
I did tell him quietly. I said, as long as you're more than welcome to stay here, Charlie, I'll look after you. I said, but if you get a serious injury,
Yeah.
I'm not paying thousands of dollars
No.
on vet fee. You're going. I'm sorry about it. I said, unlike dogs are a bit different. They live with you morning, noon, and night.
Yes.
I do love my horses, but they're still a bit separated
Yeah,
from you because
Yeah.
they're not there all the time. They're just there for the.
Absolutely.
Even when I did ride all the time, I used to ride five days a week.
Oh, wow.
So I used to go straight from work. So I'd leave here at 7, leave here about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then get back here about 7:45 at night because I do work and then go straight from work because it's going to the gym. If you come home, you don't go anywhere.
You don't go back.
And I used to love that. People say, "Oh, isn't it tiring?" I said, "But it's once you get, it's just riding a horse gets you away from everything." And
that would be decompression from work. That would be just therapy. Yeah.
And I did have a little bit of between Charlie and Junior. In between that, I had a little break. Oh, I forgot when I got Venus, Christie, and all that. I forgot about this other horse. One of the better ones I had was Emerson. I'd forgotten about him, the horse there.
Oh, okay.
So, and I had sold him because at that time it was looking like I was going to be out of the work. My business was closing down that I was working for, and like I said, I couldn't afford to be out of work and have that expense. So somebody said I had a good horse, and they said, "Oh, I'd want to buy him," so I sold him reluctantly.
Oh,
I wish I'd never. He was another good one, and as I said, and he was another hand-me-down that somebody else didn't want. I'd had my eye on this horse for quite some time, and there was an auction every year, and I saw this horse in this auction. And at the time, back in the 80s, this horse was $7,500, and in the 80s, that was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money, yes. But he was,
and there was a good horse, but the person who bought him took him for hunting, and so with the foxes and and all that. And he went hunting once and did a real good job. Then he got saddled up this fellow and was going to go, "No, I don't want to go." Then they all galloped off. And this horse was, if you didn't know him, he said, "Well, I want to go." But he said, "He's not going." But he panicked and pulled back. And this horse, if you kept pulling back, it would pull him over. And it pulled him over backwards.
Oh.
And fell on top of him and hurt him, not seriously. So he sent him to the knackery. He sent him to the knackery. So I heard about somebody said he's just sent him. So I phoned them up and got them to bring him back. Said, "I'll take him." And so I went and I gave him $1,000 for him, and I got him.
Oh, wow. And you saved him.
Because I thought I would wanted him, but I was never being able to afford that amount of money in the 80s.
Oh, gracious. No, that's a car.
And it was for $1,000, but he was just so nice. But he said, well, like every horse, they've all got the quirks. Like this one, if you held back and if he couldn't get away from yours, he'd just keep put until that. And so if he did that, you had to give him the reins, and he'd be fine. But he panic. If you keep holding, they panic and panic and panic.
All of them do. They don't like that. You've got to keep them loose.
And like one of the big things that I say to friends about my first horse, how great Junior was. He was the best one when I was ignorant. I was a green horse person. The first winter I had him, I bought this big canvas rug to put on him, and then I thought, gee, it's tight. I should have got probably a bigger size. I thought it was a bit tight. Put it on. And I said, "Come on." And he wouldn't move. He wouldn't move. And I said, come on. And what I'd done, I'd thrown it over the fence. I'd got it over the fence and done all the straps through the fence. So I'd tied him to the fence. Very dangerous. He could have panicked and pulled the whole.
Oh, yes.
He was just said that I can't move, and that's why it was tight, because I'd put the thing round there, and I thought, gee, this is a bit tight. I'd done it over the fence, so everybody gives me
fit.
People say, "Oh, look at the silly thing so-and-so's done." I said, "Don't you laugh. I've done some silly things in my time."
But that's how you learn. But next time, the rug does not include the fence when you're...
I've seen some funnier ones where there was a couple of girls doing that with their horse, and they said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "You're having good fun there?" "Yeah." And I said, "How's the horse going?" He said, "Good." I said, "You do know you haven't got the right horse?" I said, "Haven't I?" And there'd been that. I said, "That's not your horse."
Oh, my goodness. They weren't even selecting the correct horse.
Yeah. And I thought,
oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But I thought, I've never done that before, but I thought they might all look the same, but your own horse, you certainly know you can.
I
I don't
would
know how.
think.
Just know. You just know by looking, even if they're all chestnuts with brown with a white blaze. You know
You
by
know
just
which
looking
one
at
is
it, you know.
yours. Absolutely. That's
But I
pretty
thought
sad.
it was a bit dark at night, and I thought, yeah, I thought, oh well, so and so will be here. Just leaving them. They'll be grateful for you brushing their horse and
Well, yeah,
doing all
that would
that.
be.
So,
But you walk in and you just start talking, and the horse would recognize you as much as you recognize it. I mean,
mm,
to not even realize you do not have your own horse,
mm.
that's pretty
And
sad.
the thing with horses, they do know you. Like if
Oh,
you treat them
absolutely.
like Charlie, but he knows me from the pack. He'll come out. He knows it's me and comes to see me. And all the others know I've got carrots, but he'll especially come to me. Whereas the others will say, no, he's not going to give us carrots yet because he'll go for a walk with a dog first, then he'll give us the carrots. But Charlie comes up and sees me, and it's quite pleasing to know that he does. They still do know you, and that. And as I said, they're quite funny creatures, horses.
They
And I
are.
think, and as I said, there was a book I was reading once, and they said there's no such thing as a bad horse, just a bad rider.
Well,
It
that's
said,
true. The horse is only as good as its rider. That is absolutely true.
if a horse is bad, it was good, but there's always a human behind that's caused the problem or,
Oh,
or done
absolutely.
something. So,
Yeah, they've mistreated or something. Yeah, because you make the horse. And there are some, I mean they have temperaments, yes, but
mhm.
a lot of people create those temperaments as well by just not knowing what to do with them first of all.
It's the same thing like with a lot of things in life that you do. Like you end on a positive note. If you're practicing music or whatever, you don't
Mhm.
practice a piece and finish when you've stuffed it up and done it all wrong.
Oh,
You say,
absolutely.
you finish it, done it right. Stop.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with horse. No matter how bad, if you ride, you get 5 minutes of good thing. Stop.
Yeah.
Don't matter. Don't keep going because you're bound to undo it. Same thing with
Yeah.
music. Play. You go back. Oh,
Don't
that's so
ruin
nice. Stop it there. You're better
Yeah.
off because. And somebody said with the horse, and it's the same thing as you. The horse usually only remembers the last 5 minutes of the last ride. So
Oh,
if you finish up a horrible thing,
That's all it's
they'll
going to remember.
the next ride. But even no matter how horrible a ride you've had the first part, if
Mhm.
you finish off on a good note,
Yeah.
that's what they'll go to bed with. And it's the same thing with yourself.
Exactly.
You finish on a high, even if you've only played for 10 minutes practicing.
Mhm.
But if you play for 3 hours and then all you do, I don't want to go back doing that. Anyway,
Yeah.
So.
And you make it
But
to
we've
where it's
Well, we've managed to fill up an hour already, I think.
Oh,
Pretty
have
much.
we? Oh my goodness.
It runs in the family because that's why Geoff and I started the show in the first place, because
Uh-huh.
we did that lab, but we'd sometimes have a chat, and then 3.5, 4 hours later, I said, we've got to stop this. So we said, let's just do it for an hour a week
Yeah.
and just make
Cut
that
yourself
because
off.
I
Yes.
said, we'll keep going. And I said, if we do it for an hour for a week, there'll definitely be other things. Will definitely be things we can talk
Other
about.
things
So,
we can talk about. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
so-
Well, we'll have
so
to
that-
make another date then and do this, and I'll try to have more pictures. Geoff found one more picture of Grizz. I'm going to try to do a better job of showing him. I don't know if
That's-
we can or not, but this is my
Yeah,
Grizz.
That's good. Yeah, they're just there. That's fine.
That's
You
my
can see
Grizz, man. Geoff has
Oh.
some of the most awesome pictures of him. Despite being a black cat, he was so.
Yeah.
I'm doing it wrong, honey. Okay.
I'll have to see. Yeah.
But despite being a black cat, and they are very difficult to photograph, Geoff did wonderful, wonderful photography with this cat. And a lot of it is he knew he was pretty, and he knew that he was the subject of photography, and he really played it up. You could just see expressions in his face and stuff, and so there are just many more that I can show you. So I'll have to gather those up for our next time.
Definitely. I'll tell you, there's one thing I've forgotten to tell you, which I can't let you go without. Remember, I was talking about the evil German Shepherd, and that she was so evil and would
Yes.
only like 3 people. Well, one day I came home from work, and there's the evil one and the other one in the backyard.
The evil one in the back.
Christy, but I loved her. She was beautiful. I came home, and she wouldn't go in a kennel. And I said, why won't you go in your kennel? And so I looked in there, and there's this wee little kitten in there. A little kitten in there going, meow, meow.
Oh.
And she
was afraid of the kitty cat.
And if that was stood on the doorstep, she wouldn't come in the back door because it would go, meow, meow. And that cat just came round, adopted us, wouldn't come in the house. We fed it, did it. She lasted for about 12 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And but as I said, she slept with the dogs and that, but then she died in the kennel with the dogs. The dogs, no dog's ever been in that kennel since. They won't go in it. Won't go near it. Even the next ones after, no dog will go and sleep in that kennel. But this one, Sally, she came round and she used to sit on the fence. She never went out of our property. She never went across the road. She just sat there and she said, well, why didn't you? No, she didn't want to come in, but she was a dog, where she would run around with them, attack them, they would just leave her alone. But they were so gentle with them. She would cuddle up with them in the kennel during the day.
Oh.
But as I said, if you got a cat to do that, they would attack it or do. But she just came in, didn't know any different, and they just adopted her.
With her being so teeny, they probably felt so protective of her. I mean, that's probably what did it with her starting out being so tiny, and.
I think the main thing with cats though is if they don't run, dogs are fine with them. It's just they think they're a plaything and they chase them and attack them.
Oh, absolutely.
We had before we finish off, one of the things I used to do on a Saturday morning with Charlie, with the horse place I used to keep him at one stage. It was a bit of a thing on Saturday morning. We'd go to ride the horse, but I'd bring, William, although it was at the time it was Zach, I think it was Zach and Venus. And then a friend of mine would bring Jesse and Rex. And then their parents would bring the dog Saxon they were doing, and then somebody else would bring, there was a little Chihuahua.
Oh, no.
There,
in all that mix, a little Chihuahua.
And all running around, and they all had, this place had a cat on there, and one day we thought, oh no, they've killed the cat because they're all round there, and there's just this mess on the floor, all soaking wet. But there's the cat on its back with its claws going out, and they're all licking it, and it's going, oh! It was there. They was all licking it and pushing it with their noses
and playing.
And it was just, with its claws pawing them, and
probably loved the attention.
So it's all licking it that so much, all the dogs. But it was but that just goes to show if it had run, and it probably would have been. But it said, no. You're not frightening me, and
just be one of the gang.
It's just that they panic. It's like I suppose if it's life, you start running away from something. Sometimes people will chase you. They think, hey, what are you running?
There you go. That's the truth. That's the truth.
Anyway, so thank you very much for coming on and allowing me.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take up all of Geoff's time. I told him, I said, now I'm only going to talk a little bit because this is your time and Geoff's time.
I thought that was the deal. I thought I had you to myself for a whole hour. I thought that was the deal. He said, I'm going
that's fine. So. I've enjoyed myself. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, we better put Geoff on
to say goodbye, but it's wonderful talking to you.
Yes,
and thank you for sharing all the puppies. I like that.
I see it did come prepared. I was glad I came prepared.
You did. You're more prepared than I. I will have to be prepared next time with all the Grizzly and Lily pictures. Okay, here he is. Have a good day.
Okay. So now I'm just switching the shot so Jeffrey can get settled in and do all his things with being off camera a little bit. So do that. Now I can put back to this shot because it's the right person now as well. You see. So are you impressed that I had a Dee Holbrook sound?
She adjusted my chair.
But that makes it good. If she stands at the top, it will do that right. Because
there we go.
Did you see that, Jeffrey? Well, anyway, We're out of time now, you know.
Oh, I totally noticed that. I told her to talk as long as she wanted to, and then, like you say, she's most people think that because I'm such the talkative guy that my wife must be really quiet.
No, no, and that makes both things. As I said, I don't think so. If people are talkative, people who don't talk wouldn't last with them for 5 minutes. They've got to be able to say as much to compete with you, don't they? So that's my thing. Anyway, so sorry you didn't get much of a show in today, but thank you very much for introducing Dee to the show, and we can have her on again, talk about different things or whatever we want to later. But thank you everybody for watching. We've reached our hour, so I'll say bye for now, and I'll catch you next week, Mr. Holbrook.
Sounds good.
And we can do some work next week instead of just winging it on the side.
Oh, that's all right. Every now and then it's not nice to be the producer with a little picture-y thing going on, you know.
Okay. Anyway, bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening. Links for a free subscription, feedback, and everything else we do is at holbrooknewmedia.com. You can find all things Geoff Blanchard at geoffblanchard.com.